Start recording. Alrighty. So, last we had all left off, you had left from New Verdalca with information regarding Jalissa and the information she had given to a man named Duradine Dupree. All of you discovering slivers of information about each other and the danger that all of you and your relatives were in. You decide that it is best in that moment to continue on with the investigation of Nibiru, but also with the side goal of trying to find a way to cast down and defeat or get rid of Duradine Dupree so he can cause none of you and none of your families any harm. All of you begin your journey on the road, and it starts off tumultuous to say the least, as companion and friend, well, companion, Selah is stolen in the middle of the night. You do all retrieve her with the help of a dwarvish man by the name of Grey Wayfinder, and then you continue on your way after a choice interaction with a particularly kind lizard folk, odd but kind, and you continue on your path. The first encounter that you run into is what seems to be a common pit stop for most travelers going from point A to point B along this road, which is the law bearers of Arathis, a elite group of mostly women who serve under the law of Arathis, trying to maintain peace and law along the road leading from New Verdalca to New Efera. You all know that you had stolen dresses that you took from bandits. They were stolen first, and you stole them again, so it's not as bad, but you were worried, so through some clever cross-dressing, all of you were able to move through the choices were made, yes. All of you were able to move through the checkpoint and move on further down the road, eventually reaching the end of the night. All of you set up camp and had a small talk about who some of you are, and specifically around Cyrus's chaotic nature. However, the conversation quickly came to a halt as all of you had seen Cyrus rolling over onto his side, seeming to cover himself up. So, is there anything anybody would like to do on this night before you all head to sleep? And also, who are the two people going on watches?
Al is watching.
I think Selah was joining him.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Selah. And then it was Alec and... who?
I think me.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I think so.
And... all right. So, was there anything you guys wanted to do before you started to go on your watches?
Al wants to, I guess, just randomly tinker with the tinkering materials that he got before.
Sure. I'd like you to go ahead and make a tinkering tools check for me.
Okay.
So is there anything specifically you're going after, or?
Is that an intelligence check?
Or
is it? I can't remember.
I think it just depends what you're trying to do. Are you just trying to idly make something, or is there something specific you have in mind?
Nothing really specific.
Okay, so we'll just do we'll do intelligence.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So you start to craft and create, pulling out your tools and using the fire to try and heat the metal to bend it whatever which way. And while the supplies that you did purchase and that you traded for, while they are fairly good quality, you don't really have any ideas, and you're just kind of tinkering to tinker, and you're distracting yourself, and you feel as though you're working towards something right now. Maybe a new firing mechanism, maybe something like a scope of some sort. You're not exactly sure right now, but you do begin the path of just softening and shaping metal and getting a better a better feel for the tools and materials that you have. So nothing solid right now, but yeah, it's a start.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Anybody doing anything else, or is it sleepy by time?
I think Alex would just go to bed in preparation since she has second watch.
Okay. Yeah, same with Margonix.
Alrighty. So, Selah and Al, the two of you watched your other three companions head to sleep for the night, tucking into their tents, or Alec just laying on the grass.
Yeah, she's found like a very nice grassy patch and has curled up next to Doggo.
Yes, so the Doggolin does cuddle up next to you, and you can feel the small bits of drool kind of seep out of its cheeks as it sort of the warm spit lands on your arm, and they are so warm as they sort of cuddle up next to you. Yeah, it's very sweet for a ferocious war dog. But yeah, and also still Fro with you. She is also cuddled around on your other side, wrapped around you as well. So you're kind of sandwiched between two very small, simple creatures. So, heading to sleep for the night, the three of you, Selah and Al, as you go into your watch, I'd like both of you to make a perception check.
Sorry. I'm a little slow today.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I'm just gonna be a total noob again and go, where the fuck is perception? Oh, no.
Your skills are...
I found it.
Okay, all right, cool. Hey! All right.
It's under nature. Above performance.
Well, there you go. Well, it's a good thing you took a little bit longer, because you, studying a little bit more than Al, you can see he's starting to get carried away with his tinkering, not really paying attention, at least to the degree that you are. You can tell he looks up every once in a while to look and listen, but it seems like he definitely is a little bit more into his tinkering than keeping an eye on the safety of the group. Yes, you do have a few choice words you decide to keep to yourself in that moment, or you decide to share with them. It's up to you. What do you want to do?
You should probably actually pay attention to what you're doing before you get somebody kidnapped again.
So as you say that, and he just kind of looks at you and mutters in response, you do notice the interesting thing about this lumbering jungle is there are not very many creatures that exist out here naturally, at least large animals. You know, very rarely do you ever see any type of large mammal or bear, ostrich. They're rare here. It's mostly just insects, bugs, small grubs, things like that. But there's a moment where you hear what almost could be confused for like a wolf's howl, but then there's almost this like this cackle, just quietly or not quietly, but very far away, coming from outside in the forest. It doesn't seem like it's approaching at all. It just stays on the edge, and it's in the darkness, and neither you nor Al have any type of dark vision, so... well, it just depends. Sayla, do you say anything to him about it?
Nah, if it doesn't sound like it's approaching, it's not reason to wake everybody.
Yeah. For somebody who's not paying attention very closely, it does sort of blend in with, rushing water, the crackling of the fire, and the different ambiance of the bugs. But for you, Sayla, you can hear it on the very edge of your, just that very brief, just a laugh almost. And it goes away for 15, 20 minutes, and then it comes back, and then it goes away, and it comes back, and the entire time during the watch, it is just right on the outside of your field of vision. For a moment, you swear you almost see something, but then as the darkness starts to go away a little bit from your eyes adjusting, there's nothing there. And this happens all throughout your watch. And that laughter never stops, but it never gets any closer either.
Definitely gonna tell her about it later, though.
Okay. Other than that, the rest of your watch goes without conflict. So, at that point, if there was nothing the two of you wanted to talk about? No?
Sayla is just irritated that he wasn't paying attention.
Okay. So...
Al has better things to do.
Totally better thing.
So, Sayla, throughout your watch, you do spend a little bit more time with your baby fox weasel. Is there anything in particular you want to do with him during the watch while you were still keeping an eye out?
She's probably just gonna be like stroking him in her lap while she's keeping an eye on things.
Okay. He definitely falls asleep halfway through the watch.
Name it. Now. Right now. You're being put on the spot.
You don't need to name it right now. If you want to discover the name, that's okay too.
I'm gonna just keep going with, I have no idea what to name this little guy because he's just cute.
Alrighty, so you do eventually head to sleep, both of you, waking up Alec and Morganix, and the two of you awaken. Alec, you come out of your meditative stance, and the two of you proceed with your watch. I'd like you to make both of you to make a perception check.
I did warn her about the laughing noise, though.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Did I get enough of a rest to get my hit points back and lose my death saves?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oof.
So, Morganix, you are definitely still recovering. It was a rough yesterday for you.
My head hurts.
Yeah, you have got a splitting migraine, and even the birds, or not the birds, but the bugs just chittering from beyond the jungle around you, and even the crackling of the fire just, it's like nails on chalkboard to you right now. So you are just so distracted, and even with Sayla pointing out what was happening, you really don't hear it at all. And for you, she must have just been imagining something. Alec, there is a moment where, for the most part, you don't hear what Sayla was talking about either. But then, maybe about halfway through your watch, hour maybe 1 or 2, you start to hear that.
Do I recognize the sound?
Make a survival check for me.
Yeah.
You are familiar with many, many noises that are from the slumbering jungle, but you've been inside the city for so long that you feel like you've heard it before, but your knowledge is really not as sharp as it used to be when you were living out in Congiato day in and day out. So sadly, nothing really rings a bell.
How does my doggo look? Does he look disturbed by the sounds?
Oh yes, I would like you to make a perception check with advantage for him.
Oh, Neo. Okay.
Nice. Okay. So he does hear it as well, and there is just this low, just in a, from where you're looking out into the forest, he just stares off, and you can hear this low, guttural growl. He's not barking yet, but he's growling, and you can see as his head just, with laser focus, as his ears like coil up into his head, he just is following very slowly along. And then eventually he stops and looks around, and you see him go to listen again. Nothing. His ears flute back out, and you can hear a and he darts around behind him, ears retracting into his head again, looking, staring for maybe 10, 15 feet, and then he relaxes and looks back to you, very confused. Just frustrated with the situation, it seems.
We'll get to them soon. Would you like pat him on the head?
As he works his head into your hand.
She will keep her greatsword very close by, just to be safe. But if it doesn't sound like anything's approaching, she'll let people sleep.
Okay. Alrighty. Very cool.
I feel like Morgonix is kind of watching and figuring she's on top of this, and she's just going to brew the strongest tea she has at her disposal.
Okay. Alrighty. Very cool. So yeah, you get some water boiling on top of the fire, and well, what is the strongest tea that Morganix has? Is it like a herbal green tea? Is it a black tea?
I feel like a black tea should really be part of the scholars pack. Just
All right. Congratulations.
huge oversight on the player's
Yeah.
handbook.
Well, you have it now, and so you boil your water, you prepare your black tea. Sadly, no sugar and honey. Nothing to enhance it. It is very strong, but that is exactly what you wanted right now. As the sun slowly begins to rise, and the rest of your companions stir from their sleep, all of you now awake. What would you like to do?
Do we know how far away we are approximately, or like would Alec kind of have an idea?
Yes, you would. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. So we'll go ahead and move you back to this map right here. So before you had left, the journey is about 10 days. So from New Verdonka, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah. It's about 10 days from New Verdalka, so you guys have now...
I'm gonna road for like what, a day, 2 days about.
Yeah, you've been traveling for about 2 days, waking up on the third morning. So yeah, you have 7 to 8 days left. However, you do know that by the end of today, you should be reaching that first tavern. The inn that you were told about. Now there was a stop 3 days out, and then 5 days out, and then 8 days out. So by the end of today, you should be there. You know that much.
Okay. Well, Alec is gonna give like a really big clap to get everybody's attention. Right. So everyone's all in one piece. We made it through the night. Everyone is accounted for. If we keep going and pushing forward, we can get to the tavern by tonight. So I say we keep going without any distractions if possible. She's just kind of looking at everyone to make sure that's okay. She's like trying to be leadery, but there's like something about it that's maybe not the strongest quality.
Sayla just kind of shrugs, like, yeah, I guess that seems well.
Sounds like a plan.
Al makes finger guns.
Alec doesn't know how to respond to finger guns, so she'll just do an awkward salute in your direction.
Al salutes back.
Good, I think that was good. Let's go. And she will turn on her heel, I guess start leading the way.
Okay, well, you guys begin extinguishing the fire, packing up your supplies, loading them back up into the cart. Cyrus, I did want to ask, are you taking the dress off and putting it back in the supplies?
I am, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to be clear.
It's a long rest, right?
Yep, long rest.
Great.
You wake up recharged and definitely feeling a little bit more confident that you can tackle what is you're going to be experiencing today. However, as all of you are packing up the final bits and pieces of your camp, putting away the final tent in the small cart, Sayla, you hear that yipping again. That and let me go here. And with that, Okay, so, Sayla, as you hear that, you look around to where it came from, and before you even see whatever creature was making those noises, you see several different arrows fly from different directions, one at each one of your companions. So, Al and Cyrus, as you hear the yipping as well, looking around, you see the two arrows just fly past where you are. However, Alec, Morganix, and Sayla, each one of you are hit with an arrow. And I'd like each one of you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh shit!
Constitution?
Wait, who all is hit?
Just the three ladies.
Gotcha.
Chivalry is dead.
Oh, she's... What?
Let's see, where are the...
That's
Oh, found it.
Not many people practice. Practiced.
All right. Very cool. So, the three of you, Morganix, you take 3 points of piercing damage.
Wow.
Alec, you take 4 points of piercing damage, and Sayla, you take 3 points as well. However, as the three of you are hit with those arrows, you feel everything around you begin to like bend and shake and almost like change colors, like you begin to start hallucinating. Just in a moment, as you look over at Alec or Al and Cyrus, you can see the two of them sort of like the skin begin to melt off of their face as they begin to fall onto the ground as a puddle of as a collection of bones and a puddle of meat juice. And then as you flex and pull on your inner constitution and inner strength, you refocus and reject that vile poison, and everything's fine. The trees aren't bending anymore. The Al and Cyrus are still whole with no meat juice leaking, and
Yay!
everything seems fine. And as you look around, I'd like everyone to make a perception check after the arrows flew at you.
Could I summon
Alex?
the Hexblade?
Oh,
I'm
for
sorry.
sure.
Same. No, you're fine. Same idea. I will grab my greatsword.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm
all of
having
you,
a bad morning.
Oh no!
you succeeded where it counted. So Morganix, as you conjure the Hexblade, there is this large cloud of purple smoke that envelops the area, and as you do, almost like a cat's tail, it just wags in front of your face and sort of disorients you for a moment. And the voice reaches out. Hello, darling. Good morning. And at the worst possible time for her to try and be coy, you can't see anything. And all of you really looking into the forest, there's nothing. You really don't see anything except Selah. Just in the moment where the arrow hit you, you look in that direction, staring off, and you can see a creature running off into the distance away from your group. Maybe 5.5 feet tall, like a very hunched, rounded back, large tufts of fur growing on it, and these large, animalistic dog-like legs and very broad shoulders. And just seeing the back of it, it is evocative of something you've seen before. When you were underneath that ship, underwater, you fought those skeletons. But this is not a skeleton. This creature is alive. However, as soon as you see it, it's gone, vanished into the trees. And in the same moment that you were panicked, reaching for your weapons, constant the jattering and howling of those laughs, it's gone. And you all look around, and you brush off any of the additional toxin that was on the arrows, but you look and it seems like there's no immediate threat anymore, unless you wanted to chase after them. So what do you guys want to do?
Do we see it? Like, I thought Taylor was the only person who saw what it was.
Yeah, Sayla, you saw it run off, and as soon as you got an eye on it, you saw it sort of disappear behind a tree.
So, I imagine she remembers what the creatures were that attacked. We knew what those were, right? Gnolls?
Yep, they were gnolls.
Okay. So, she's going to relay that she saw a living gnoll to the group, and that's what attacked them.
Right, time to go.
She doesn't know what that means, though. She's never dealt with one of those.
They are an enemy for sure. I think it is best if we keep going and quickly. We do not need to be dealing with these creatures right now.
Good idea.
Can we quickly just put our shit and get out of this area?
Yes. You quickly jam everything up on the cart and hop on, some of you walking next to it, and unless there's anything else, you begin to hop on the road.
Can I take one of the arrows and smell it and just log the scent?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. It is a combination of mildew, musk, and Alec knows what fleas smell like.
Okay. I would like to also share this the arrow and let my doggo smell it as well. And I will tell him, I'll squat down to him face to face, and I will say, "Enemy, we kill this." Yes?
As he bobs his head up and down.
Good. And I will pat him on the head.
All right. As it seems happier with the pats on the head than with the enemies, but ready to launch at a throat any second now. So all of you hop on to the cart or walk by it and begin to head on your way through the road. So who is leading the cart this time?
I will lead the cart still.
Okay.
With everybody beside me.
Yeah. And then Cyrus, are you staying in the back of the cart?
I am.
All right.
I'm a man of leisure.
All right. Yes. Prefer the easy life. Is anybody else hopping in the cart, or are the other three of you just walking along?
I mean, if no one's taking it, Sayla will totally take it.
Alrighty, so that means Morganix and Al, you two are the ones walking alongside
The odd ones out.
the cart, and you continue to walk for 2.5 hours. Is there anything anybody wanted to talk about in that time? So Sayla and Alec, the two of you are sitting next to each other. Cyrus right behind you, and then and then Morganix and Al, each one of you are on the left and right of the cart, heading down the street or heading down the road.
Anyway, that could have been organized or something.
How do you mean?
I don't know. I mean, like, in case that wasn't just some random encounter.
It likely wasn't. They were stalking us all night.
What are they now?
I kind of turn around and say,
Had
wait,
you been paying
what?
attention, you would have known.
Oh, come on. I have more important things.
Mm,
Besides, you had it covered. Yeah,
apparently.
you were fine. Come on.
We
If you
did
needed any
also,
help, you would have asked.
we also heard these sounds during our watch, but I didn't feel as though they had the courage to approach us. But apparently that's changed this morning.
Oh yeah, Cyrus, by the way, we could hear them, but they didn't come super close, so it wasn't a huge deal in the night. Apparently that changed.
well, shit.
Are they gonna follow us?
I don't know.
Possibly. Curious thing is why? What do we have that they want?
Could be money.
Okay,
Food.
so Alec, you do know that gnolls are an odd type of creature for many reasons. The origin of them is fairly unknown, aside from the fact that they do trace back to Yanogu, the really like the Gnoll Lord. Aside from that, you know that they answer to Yanogu. They are organized in that sense. But as far as the organization goes, it's not typically, or at least it never seems like strategy or tactics. It is just you, group of 5. These are either someone who has made me angry, or I just want you to cause chaos. And it seems like those are the only two reasons for anything. Or just, I don't know, I don't care.
Right. So, okay. So Alec will just like kind of listening to them talk and thinking about what she knows and kind of their experience. She will say, it seems very unlikely that it was of their own free volition. Ooh, that's a big word for her. Their own free will. Whether that means somebody set them up to it or they were hungry and we looked good to eat, I'm not sure. But I think it's best that we just try to put as much distance between us and them if possible.
Fair enough.
Now we'll walk faster.
To a no. I look good to eat.
To a lot of
I'll-
people, we look good to eat.
I'll just has a pondering look on his face.
Okay, so you all continue down the road, and another hour or so, coming to 3-4 hours of travel, seems to go fairly uneventful after those gnolls. The forest, or the jungle, is silent. Every so often you pass a cart on the other side of the road. They give you a nod, anything from a halfling man with a cart full of what seemed like wheat and rice and vegetables, to an armored Goliath who has a large cart behind him pulling weapons and armor. It seems as though the road isn't lively, but there are people traversing. There is definitely a reason why the road has been established, as people do use it. So, you do continue for a while longer, and Alec and Selah being on top of the cart, you're the first two to see this, but off on the side of the road, you can see a cart. It seems like one of the wheels is kind of broken and snapped off, and the horses are still alive, and you see this big man with a large sort of unkempt beard, head shaven bald, a large cloak on his sides as he's trying to lift the cart up by himself. And he says, "Hey, come on. And you can see that the human man just kind of grunting and trying to lift up this cart by himself to try and get the wheel back on. And you can see on the other side, it's currently nestled in mud off to the side of the road.
Can Alex go over and just lift it? Or attempt to lift it, I should say.
Yeah, sure. So you come up to the cart, and so as you pull up, he says, excuse me, I pardon you for a moment. I honestly love some help. Most times I can accomplish this by my lonesome, but well, this fucking cart's heavy, and honestly, I really need some help lifting it up."
No problem, I can assist you, sir. And she's trying to be friendly native. And she'll walk over to the cart and lift it. Try to lift it.
All right. So go ahead and make a strength check with advantage because Morganix is helping you out there, trying to lift the cart up. Nice. Yeah. Okay. So luckily, Alec, you were able to lift the cart up in this wonderful display of strength and athleticism. And Morganix, instead of being the person who was helping her lift, yep, exactly. You grab the wheel and slam it back on while she has it lifted up, and then as the cart comes back down, wheel attached, ready to get back onto the road. The man, he sort of scratches at his beard and then scratches the bald head and says, it's nice to see, and I mean no offense by this, but it's so nice to see a native that, some of your kind doesn't exactly like the people that are coming in New Efera, and well,
Alec just grunts. Right. Well, off.
Yeah, just be careful. They have been getting more aggressive, and
who's been getting more aggressive?
Well, I mean no offense, like I said, but your people, the natives, they have been especially close to New Efera, have been ambushing carts and attacking people.
My people.
Yes.
My people do not attack carts. I think you're mistaken, sir.
Sure. Yeah. Of course I was. Sorry. Well, thank you for your service here. Sadly, let's see. I don't know if and you see him go to the back of his cart, open it up, and look through. I don't really know. Is there anything you're in need of, or I'm just I'm a spice merchant from the Salamanders. I don't really have anything here that
Yeah, I think that we have everything that we need, but thank you. We'll start to walk away.
Well, I should at least give you something for helping me. I would have been stuck here for who knows how long, and who knows what had gotten me. So, it's really the most I can spare right now. Is I'm a little low, but he hands you one gold piece. Says, "Please take it. It's Well, it's as little as I can do. Huh? It's the most I can do, really.
Thank you. Thank you.
See
And
that.
she will put it in her pocket and just walk away.
All right. And you can feel him just sort of like looking, watching the collection of you move away and climb back on his cart. And you can hear the reins rip behind you as he slowly begins to pull out of the mud and back onto the road, headed towards New Verdalka. Okay.
Huh.
Well, that was uncomfortable.
Mm. I've noticed that a lot of people who are unfamiliar with our ways like to make assumptions, I think is the right word. We don't attack carts. We typically stay in our home. It is the outsiders who infringe on our lands. I hope you know this. We don't attack people.
Didn't. There's always a chance people change.
We don't attack people. We protect what is ours and we protect our lands, and when it is being taken over and taken away, naturally people react, but I don't see any reason why any tribe would encourage their members to be the aggressors.
How many tribes are there?
Well, there are many different tribes and different clans under different protective areas. I couldn't even name them all. I'm not as familiar with the ones here, but I know that they wouldn't do such a thing
And how do you know that?
because it is not our way. We are
Wasn't. People change.
we are here to protect what is ours and the ground that we walk on. We do not. And Alec is just like so confused and perplexed that this was even a thing.
Is your father a man of some rank or prestige?
Yes, back home. He's the watcher and the guardian of the river up that way, but down
It,
here, I don't know much.
Would you say that the land that they currently reside on used to be your people's land?
Everywhere used to be our land.
Exactly. You might not know it, but some of the clans might be attacking. Who knows?
or they could just be maybe, if it's happening at all, trying to do what we're doing and free them.
Right. If if I remember correctly, there's not as plentiful of tribes in this area as there used to be. So I'm not sure what this man was speaking of. It could have been anyone.
And he could have been talking nonsense.
Right. So let's keep pushing forward.
I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. Of all the natives I know, you being the only one, you're very honorable.
At that, Alec will like crack a smile. Thank you. That is one of the nicest things anyone has said. So I appreciate it. And she's gonna pat her dog on the head and walk forward.
Okay. So you all continue in a somber silence after Cyrus asks if anyone would like drinks at which is about noon. So it's 5 o'clock somewhere, you know.
As I hear ice clink in the background.
It was cherry Pepsi.
Oh.
The best
Sorry, I'm not
kind
that
of
cool.
Pepsi. It's exactly what I'm drinking right now.
Hey. All right. So, Alec partakes some, and Cyrus offers more of the sap booze. And most of you partake. Some of you only a little, some a little more. Traumatic situations and all. Exactly, some not at all. And you continue to move, trying to keep your mind as sharp as possible. More time passes. At this point, it's maybe 3 o'clock after 3 more hours of travel pass, slowly ticking along in the cart at a comfortable pace, not too slow, not too fast, definitely not trying to hide yourself at all or speed anywhere. But eventually you get to a more rocky area. You can see that instead of being constantly surrounded by trees on each side, that there is a plateau every once in a while. Still lots of trees, lots of plant life, but it's broken up a little bit more. That's okay, yeah. However, Selah and Alec being the two on the front of the cart, I'd like each one of you to make a perception check to see how soon you notice something. Ooh, okay. Was there anybody else keeping an eye out, or were the rest of you just kind of...
Morgonix is definitely a little on alert after this morning.
Gotcha.
Al is definitely not.
Okay, then Morganix, you can make one as well.
Totally hasn't learned his lesson.
I'm still pissing about with my booze.
My
compass.
head hurts.
Okay. So, as all of you are moving along slowly, just trying to get from point A to point B. Oh, yes, actually, please make
I would be
a
surprised
perception
if
check
Al-
with your dog.
do so. I actually would be surprised if Al walked into a tree. Just saying.
Well, luckily the road is cleared of any type of tree or anything like that, so you don't have that to worry about. However,
It'd be like, oh, whatever.
your dog, being the best boy, slowly moving along, trotting next to the cart, just happily moving about. You see him stop in his tracks. And slowly begin to move forward, and then just sort of like point forward. He just sort of stops and using his nose just pointing forward down the road.
I will draw my sword and look at what he's looking at.
Okay. And you don't see it, but you hear it. You can see in front of you currently like a rock ledge that comes up maybe 15, 20 feet. And there are some trees on it, but you hear a voice. You hear a man's voice. Just barely. It's a little quieter, and it says, "Listen, please. This is all so much easier if you just come out of the cart. Do I make myself clear? Please, I would prefer not to break anything else. Please, just come out of the cart." And you hear it, but you don't necessarily see it yet. You can hear somebody talking, something about a cart coming out of it. What do you want to do?
Sailor just kind of snickers and like sits back. Yeah, right. I'm not fucking leaving the cart unless I need to fight something.
It doesn't sound like it is at you.
Oh.
You can hear it coming from around the rocky ledge, and it does not sound directed at you.
In that case, can I sneak around and see what's going on?
Yes, you may. Go ahead and make a stealth check.
Oh.
All right. Okay. So, what you can see, is wrong thing there. And so coming around the rocky ledge, let me move you to the map here. You can see 6 individuals. So you can see just sort of sneaking around, clinging to the rock into shadow, looking up. You can see two of those screaming weasels on the ledge, each one with a crossbow. Then you see 4 people very close to that cart with 2 dead horses off to one side. And the one who is speaking is this one with the this image with the bandana here. And says, and just keeps saying, "Listen, friend, I think that it's best if you come out of the cart. What do you have to lose? I mean, yes, I know your life, but honestly, what's the worst that could happen?" And you hear a voice muffled from the inside of the cart just say, "No, I would prefer to stay in the cart and prefer that you all leave." And the screaming weasel who was talking, and you do see, Selah, a familiar face to you from the times that you had woken up in the middle of the night, or in that time that you were there, just sort of coming in and out of consciousness in that camp. You see a halfling man who was particularly coarse and uncaring. And you can see him standing next to a large brooding individual, and then right next to that individual who keeps talking, there is someone who's dressed different than any of the people you've encountered so far. Loose, light clothing, no weapons at their side, just hands wrapped in bandages. The woman just standing there, silent, watching. And the man continues, "Listen, friend, I have someone here from Losar. Do you know what that is? I want you to be very clear before you make your next decision." And says, "Yes, I know what that is. I've been there many times. The monks and all of that. So yes, you are very familiar with it. Well, this woman right here can snap many pieces and chunks of wood with her bare hands. And I'm sure she could do the same to your neck and to that door easily. So would you like to keep going, or would you like to come out?" So Selah, as this conversation has been happening, what do you want to do?
So, since she sees she can't do shit by herself, she's not even gonna try that.
Mm-hmm.
So she's probably gonna tell the others, like, go back, tell them. And she knows good and well they're gonna get involved, so she's just gonna get her shit out because she knows they're gonna want to help this poor fucking sap in the wagon. So she's just accepted her fate that they're about to go into another fight.
Okay, very cool. All right, so you go and get the others as I add them here. Whoa, Al. Watch it.
We finally have Token to match his personality.
Okay, so Selah, you go back and get the other 4, and she informs you as to what to happen, so all of you know this. And as the 4 of you get back, he just finished his last sentence where he said, "I'm sure that she could snap your neck, same as that would, and take care of the door easily. So, what do you want to happen next? I think the answer's clear." So what are all of you doing?
Is it possible to climb up here?
You can certainly try, yeah.
I'd like to cast invisibility on myself first.
Okay, so you are invisible. Let's get a... why is there not like a good thing for invisibility? All right, you know what? This stop sign right here. That's good. Can't be seen.
You can't see me.
Yes. All right, so cast invisibility. I'd like you to make an athletics check.
I'm rolling so well today.
Well, good enough, right? It's not hard. It's very rocky, very easy to find footholds, and it's only about 15 feet high, so it's not too bad. As you get up to the top, it is a little overwhelming, but eventually you pull yourself up and get underneath this tree invisible, and you can see the 2 screaming weasels on the ledge. You can see they're a little too absorbed in the conversation, and they are not doing their job as recon. So what is everyone else doing? You see
Okay.
Morganix go invisible, and then you see a couple of pebbles fall off of the rock
I would
ledge.
probably gesture that I'm gonna go up there before I do it.
Okay.
Are these people here? Oh, can I click? Are they also screaming weasels? Am I assuming that correctly?
Yeah, you can assume because you know that. I mean, they're all wearing similar kind of hodgepodge armor and equipment, except for this lady here who is referred to as a monk. And
Which one?
The one with the
Oh, okay, yeah, the next one. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Even this person?
Yeah, that person right there you do recognize as the halfling from the camp that ran away.
Okay, I'm just making sure that these are all aggressive people, and are the poor guys in the wagon still. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's the case, Alec, being Alec, she's just gonna step out.
Al will as well.
She's gonna step all the way to here, and she's just gonna say, "Hey!"
I'm gonna take a step back.
And then, okay, Al, you follow up with her, and Alec,
Sure.
as you shout out, "Hey,"
Actually, can I say "hey" and throw a javelin at the same time?
yes, you can.
Al-
Okay.
Al waves a large wave with a giant smile on his face and saying, "Do you remember me? Hello."
As they're doing that, can Morganix charge and try to push this guy from behind?
Okay, yes, all right. There's a lot of things going on. All right, perfect. So,
Sayla's just gonna sneak up around. She's gonna sneak up around and try to stay hidden for the moment.
Morganix, as you run up and push, I'd like you just to go ahead and make an attack roll with the Hexblade for me, just to see if you that lands.
Are we rolling initiative?
Not yet. As you're doing all of this stuff, so Morganix, you do run up, you do push him off. So let me move him down here. Alec, I would like you to, as you shout that out and throw a javelin. I'd like you to roll for a javelin attack. Alrighty. Oh my god. Okay, so that hits. As you say that, he says, "Oh my, what is it now?" And the javelin slams into his stomach as you throw it at him. Oh, you're not raised, so just 6 piercing damage. Okay, very cool. -6, and then Morganix, as you pushed him down, he falls 15 feet, so he takes 2d10. So he takes 8 points of damage.
And I would no longer be invisible, but
Yes.
that's okay.
So as you push him off, there's a bandit, a female bandit standing next to him who was, "What the fuck?" Ah! And just sort of screams as she goes to try and swing her crossbow off to her side and like draw her short sword. And with that, now we will roll initiative. There you go.
Uh-oh. Frozen.
I'm just not gonna roll double digits today. I hope you all are okay with that.
My rolls suck too, don't worry.
This is what happens when we play on a Wednesday.
Come on, roll. Okay.
The mojo's off.
I'll go with it.
While we mess with the energy of the universe.
I'm even wearing pink. This should not be happening. I am following all the Wednesday rules.
So funny.
Okay. Oh, I see what's happening now. Okay, so then... Alright, just give me a second here. And there we go. Do we have everyone? We have got... Annex, we have got him. We have got him. We've got Alec. We have got her. We've got... him. We've got Al. We've got Cyrus, and we got him, and then we got them. Alrighty, very cool. So, what we will do here, a little bit, and then I need to adjust one thing, and then we will be good to go. Okay, so let me sort this bad boy. Descending. Alrighty, so as you throw the javelin, Alec, as he's saying, "Oh my, what now?" It slams. He's and lightning fast reaction. That halfling man, fuck, not you fuckers again! God damn it! Oh, and he'll pull out his hand crossbow, and he is going to fire 2 shots at you, Alec. So hand crossbow, maybe. Oh, that's why I see now. Okay, so that is a 14 and an 18. The 14 misses, and the 15 hits. So that is 5 points of piercing damage from him. As the first one misses, as you kind of deflect it with your sword, but as the second one hits, it like cuts into your leg slightly as you try your best to bounce back and recover. And yes, the halfling was it was a bounty only if he was alive. Okay.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
I hate to interrupt. My initiative did not put me on the list.
Oh, it didn't? Oh, shoot. Okay, here, let me go ahead and add you there. What was your initiative?
6.19.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. 6.1.
I think you're on the list, but you're just at 19. That looks like you.
No. Alec is at 19.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys sound really similar.
Okay, so...
I'm an asshole, sorry.
I'm above the person I wanted to be above, so that's fine. This guy's mine. I'm gonna assassinate him.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna assassinate him so hard.
Okay, so that is the end of Senver's turn, and then that brings us to Alec.
Okay. Well, I can only get so far, and if she's gonna assassinate that guy, I want that to happen. So I'm gonna run, and I can only get so far. So as I'm running, I'm raging because he hit me, and that's not okay. Boop. And I'm gonna throw my Oh God, I'm just gonna get myself in so much trouble out here. I just know I'm gonna die. Okay, I'm gonna throw my javelin at this dude.
Okay, sorry, what dude?
I'm sorry, this dude.
Okay, so the same guy you threw it at before.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, go ahead and roll your attack.
Oh fuck yeah.
That is a hit. And did you rage?
Oh yes, I did.
Yes, you did. Okay, cool. Alrighty, so with that rage damage, holy crap, 11 points of damage. Heck yeah. Alrighty, so 11 points of damage to him. A second javelin hanging out of him now. He says, "Oh, okay, all right, fine, let's do this." And he will. And was there anything else you wanted to do on your turn?
If I was level 5, yeah, but I'm not. Sorry, I'm just looking at my stuff real quick.
No, you're good.
Okay, so I ran through there, which was that my full 35 feet? Seeing that I'm probably outnumbered where I am, I'm just gonna take a couple steps back. To here.
Okay, very cool. Alrighty, so you run up, throw your javelin, and then you slowly backstep. Alrighty, so then that brings us to the monk woman. She is going to run up to you, Alec, and she is going to... Oh, there we go. She is going to go ahead and take 2 unarmed strikes at you. So as she runs up, she's just going to go with like a finger dagger or hand dagger with all of her fingers together and just make a jab underneath your armpit at the other one right in between two of your ribs. So the first one is a 19 and the second one is a 9. So the 9 will miss, but the 19 will hit. And you take 7 bludgeoning damage reduced to 3.
Cool.
From
Doggo turn?
the what? What's up?
Sorry. Does Doggo get a turn?
Oh, yes, if you did want to have him roll initiative.
Do I need to like command, or does he get his own action? How would you like to do that?
We'll just say that he will go immediately after your turn just to make life a little bit easier. So that way he
Okay.
doesn't have to roll his own initiative. But I can make it so you can. So at least I can do this. Is that right?
You gotta look at the sheet real quick. Okay. Okay, so would you like me to go?
Yeah, so go ahead and go ahead and go with
Okay.
your with
Sorry, I
your
was reading.
dogman.
I didn't know what his things are, but it looks like he's just got wolfy stuff.
So he can
All right, yeah.
flank, but he also has pack tactics, where if there's an ally within 5 feet, he does get advantage on the roll.
Oh, neato. Well, he's gonna see his mama in trouble, so he's gonna go rah, 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 and
All right.
be an ankle biter. And do this for his roll.
Okay. Alrighty, so
He's
that
doing a attack, yep.
yep, that is a hit.
Okay.
And then I believe you should.
4 plus. So 6, 7, 8. So 8.
Okay. And then for future reference, you can go into his character sheet and just click on bite.
Oh my god. Sorry. I didn't know that was like, okay, yep. Alright. So doing it the hard way?
Okay, so you said
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, because it was 2d4 plus 2. My bad.
Okay, no, you're good. All right. So with that, as she comes up to you and slams you in the armpit and then cracks down at your waist, you're able to bounce off or deflect with your shoulder, the one that was headed towards your armpit, but the other two crack in between your ribs, and you can feel them sort of dip into your skin like a blade and then pull back out in this force of trauma right around your rib cage. Then your dog runs behind and just chomps into her leg, and actually she does need to make a strength saving throw, or else she is knocked prone. So let me
Hopefully that's not high.
DC 11. Okay, so she did succeed. As the dog bites and tries to tear her down, she just like smacks its neck, and it releases the grasp as she goes back to focusing on you. Okay, so with that is the end of her turn, and then that brings us to this terrible guy. So this other big brutish individual is going to Morganic, seeing you just push off one of those people, is going to whip out his crossbow and is going to fire a bolt at you. That is a 4 to hit. It lands in the rock in between, like right below you by about 5 feet. It slams into a rock and just sort of lodges in there, and he loads another bolt. But that is the end of his turn. Then we have Al. What would you like to do?
Let's see. How far is this? Great. Al is going to move down here.
Okay.
And take a shot with his revolver at this guy. And
Okay.
he's gonna use a grit point to get. He's gonna use the grit point, a grit point for a Deadeye shot, which allows me to spend a grit point to gain advantage on my attack.
Very cool.
Great.
All right, go ahead and roll your attack with advantage then.
Yep.
Did you want to use sharpshooter on top of that?
Yes.
All right, there it is. There it is. All righty.
There we go.
So go ahead and roll with advantage. Subtract 5. We'll see if this hits.
Crossing my fingers.
So a 21 minus 5. That is a 16, which just barely hits. So go ahead
Nice.
and roll your damage plus 10.
Okay.
Get him. Get him 18 piercing damage. Woo! Minus 18. So you run past where Alec and the monk and her dog are. You pull out your pistol with a swirl and fire off your revolver, and the bullet flies clear contact through his thigh on the outside, causing this like spray and smattering of blood on the grass. And he you know what? No, that's gripping down at his leg. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Alrighty. So as you stand there firing off as he yells out in pain, Cyrus, it is now your turn.
I'm just going to step out and throw 3 magic missiles straight at the monk.
Okay. Very cool. Alrighty. Go ahead and roll your 3 attacks. Or roll your 3 damages. I mean, forgot magic missile just auto hits.
And then I'm going to run back.
Okay, all right. Minus 3, minus 4, minus 2. Alrighty. So as you run out, flick off those 3 bolts, flying one into her shoulder, one into her neck, and the other one into her stomach. You can see they definitely do affect her, but very quickly she returns back to her original position. Alrighty, very cool. Now it is the captain's turn, and he is going to... yeah, he's going to go ahead and run up to Alec, because she seems to be the most intimidating in this moment, and the one that he can get to. So he is going to use his attack with his scimitar twice. And that is a 22 and a 16, which both those hit. And that is a total of 10 damage for both combined, but halved to 5. So, you take both of the hits, not even deflecting, so focused on your opponent right in front of you, both slashing into your shoulders and waist. But luckily, you are so focused that, if anything, it just fuels your anger as opposed to detract from it. Okay, so that is the end of his turn, and then Selah, it is your turn.
I don't know if I'm close enough to actually get to him, am I?
Yeah, that's 30 feet, yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'm gonna assassinate him because he's not had a turn yet. And I've never got to use it, and I want to really bad.
Okie dokie. All right, so because he doesn't know that you are, because he hasn't gone yet, you go ahead and move up to him, and I'd like you to roll with an attack with your blade there.
Just a regular attack?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, with advantage because he is prone right now. Oh, wow. Woo! Yes, with advantage, please.
Okay, let's just roll again.
Yeah, because he fell face first on the ground.
That's
Aha! There we go. Alrighty. So, as he's laying down on the ground, he sort of rolls over on his back, and in a moment's instant, you are right in front of him. Go ahead and roll. Make sure to click the sneak attack box, and go ahead and roll your damage.
Do I need to click the assassinate for that?
No. It'll just
Okay.
We'll just be able to add the damage because of how I do my critical. So you slam
Awesome.
down, automatic critical hit. So
Sneak attack.
and then damage. So the blade is 8, and your sneak attack is how much? 2d6. So 12.
Yeah, 2d6.
So 27. What's 27 plus 8?
Ah,
35. Is that right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
okay,
so.
all right, cool, thank you. All right, so 35 points of damage and a spectacular display. You slam the sword into him and just cut back, opening him from navel to neck, And yeah, he's dead. He's definitely dead. Yeah.
Just letting loose a little bit of her frustration.
And you do. And you know what? That was his turn up next. So he is dead. Can't do anything. And then we have Morganix. No longer invisible, so no longer stop signed. What do you want to do?
I would like to call out, remember the bounties are only good if they're alive! And then I'm going to Eldritch Blast this girl, aiming for like the shins, the knees, to try to also make them fall back.
Okay, all right. Go ahead and roll for an attack.
Sailor's just like, I don't care about the fucking bounty. I just want him dead.
Okay, roll your damage.
This is an agonizing blast.
Yep. So 5, 9,
Plus 4.
and then all right. So as you aim for the shin, as they just turn around, you end up hitting them as they're facing forward towards you, hitting their knee. You can see their leg bend the opposite direction as they sort of fall forward and then slide down, taking an additional D10 of damage, 2d10 from the height.
You guys, every time Morganix tries to do good, she makes it so much worse.
For a total of 12 bludgeoning damage. As they slam down on the ground and roll back, they end up falling back, falling directly on their spine as you just hear one snap after the other. The snap of the knee, and then as they land, that snap of the neck. And Sayla, you see, obviously what you did was fairly gruesome, but whoever did that, holy shit.
Do I see that? Do I know that she's dead?
You heard the snap. You can choose not to look if you want, but you did hear the secondary snap and the boom of the rest of the body hitting the ground.
Oh god.
Well, anything else?
I mean, I'll roll for an anxiety attack next turn.
Okay, all right, cool.
I'm in shock.
So yeah, you hear the crack, crack, boom, and you just eyes wide, breathe, and continue forward. That was her turn. No longer. Now we are back up to the top of the initiative with Sinver. Sinver is going to... Yikes, is going to fire, looking up at Morganix, is going to fire 2 bolts at you after seeing what you did, and is going to... Oh, how could you do that? And is going to fire 2 bolts at you.
Yeah, that checks out.
That's a 9 and a 22.
The 22 will do it.
And then that is 5 points of piercing damage from the second bolt, as the first one flies past your ear and the second one cuts into your shoulder, and you are still just eyes wide like... All righty. So, with that, that is the end of his turn, and now, Alec, it is your turn.
Sorry, I shoved M&Ms in my mouth. Okay.
Good. What are you
How
doing?
is the monk looking after my doggo bit into her leg?
She's fine for right now. She's definitely looking a little cut into, but nothing too terrible.
And my javelin friend next to me?
Javelin boy, he is angry and not looking too good.
Goodness, okay. They're surrounding me. I'm gonna go after him because I know my doggo can handle her. So I'm gonna kind of like spin on my heel with my greatsword and try to take a cut into him.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's a hit. And roll your damage with all of your rage. Holy shit! Fuck, man. So, 2 javelins impaled in him as you swirl the blade around and cut down. You slice through the top half of his shoulder, kind of like meat through one of those industrial meat slicers like prosciutto, and just slice the top part of his shoulder off as he just grabs it, and the rest of his arm just kind of begins to pull away as he falls over, slumped, sort of bleeding profusely from his arm. As you see He just kind of bleeds out in front of you.
But do I see what happened with Morganix and the dude who fell?
You did hear the crack, crack, thud. You're not sure exactly. You assume it was Morganic because she pushed the other one off, but yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, then she will like see her dog behind the monk, and she will say, "This is how we kill our enemies." And then she fucks him up, and then I will command my doggo to do the same to her,
All
but
right.
with his teeth.
And the dog and then chomps. And
Oh, he didn't do a good job.
They
Poor
did.
boy.
Your dog did that thing where you yell surprise attack before a surprise attack, and then it's no longer a surprise. The monk just kind of kicks up her heel towards the dog's mouth before it's able to take a successful bite.
Oh, she's gonna fucking die. Okay.
Which brings it to her turn. So she is going to is going to take 2 unarmed strikes against you again. Oh, that's nasty. That is a 17 and a natural 20. Whew. Alrighty. So real quick,
Goodbye, everyone.
I would like you to make a dexterity saving throw. Alrighty. So with that, oh god. All right. Okay. So let's see. That is.
Real quick question: does my dog get advantage for flanking?
Oh, but they do get pack tactics from you being next to the enemy. So they
What
would
is
have
that?
advantage if you wanna go ahead and
Okay, I
reroll.
mean, it doesn't stop her from ending my whole career, but... Oh, oops, sorry. I rolled his damage rather than...
Okay, 12
well,
still
maybe, I
doesn't
don't know,
hit.
probably not.
No. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
12 still doesn't hit. Trying to bite, still kick back. So you take. Let me do the math here. There's 12 to 1. You take 10 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are also knocked prone. So as one hit, she cracks into your neck, and then she takes a low sweeping kick at your legs. You are just kicked out from under your feet and fall flat on your back onto the ground as she returns to her offensive position facing you. So that, well, and then seeing you prone, she is going to, seeing the real issue here, let's see. She is going to actually, she's going to jump over you and move towards Sayla. So you and your dog both will get an attack of opportunity against her as she moves away.
Okay. Here's his bite. Oh, hell. Dog is coming in clutch, okay.
Okay, so maybe she does
Would
get
mine
you.
be with disadvantage since I'm prone, or...
Yeah, yours is with disadvantage since you're prone. But she does need to make a strength saving throw. Okay,
Cool.
so actually yours is a flat roll because as your dog reaches to bite it, as she takes off, it actually grabs into like the Achilles heel and bites and tears as she falls back onto the ground, failing her strength saving throw. So you no longer have disadvantage. It is a straight roll as the two of you are just like dog fighting on the ground now. So the 21 does hit, so go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay, I'll roll his bite attack damage,
Is
and
that his
then...
bite attack? Holy shit. 20 plus 13, 33. Wow, the worst mistake. Literally. Holy shit. So fucking Christ, man. So she so confidently whap, whap, and then goes to jump over you thinking you're practically done for, but little did she know your dog was ready to go, bites at the heel, tears her down, and then you just wail on her with your sword. You aim for the stomach, And as you do, she puts her hands in the way, but you still make sizable cuts with your blade into her hands. She's still alive, but she's not looking good. Okay, so then we have this guy over here. He sees what you do and your dog, and he's like, "Gotta deal with that fucking mutt," and he's gonna walk over. Yep, just has enough movement, and he is going to swing with a. Well, he makes two mace attacks. Okay. Luckily, because of the thick or the hardened scales that are on the dog, even though it doesn't have a lot of hit points, its AC is very high. With I think it's 18. Yeah, 18. So as the guy, he slams down both times onto the dog, and all of you watching on think that the dog is done for, but as you see it each hit, there's like this spark of there's this spark of energy that just as each mace is just deflected from the dog's scales, and the guy's like, "What the fuck is this dog?" And he like kicks it, and the dog just growls towards him, and he's like, "Ugh." And that's the end of his turn. So now, Al, it is your turn.
Right. Right. Let's see. What am I gonna do? Sorry. I was thinking of something. Al is going to take a shot at the. Wait, is the monk still alive?
Yes, she is.
Okay, he's gonna take a shot at the monk.
Okay, go for it. It is with disadvantage because she is prone.
What?
Yeah, ranged attacks have disadvantage when the enemy is prone.
Because it's a smaller target.
Yeah, it's harder to hit.
Okay.
And also, Alec and her are kind of like on top of one another right now, so it's a little bit harder to perceive targets. So you can still
Great.
go
Not
for it.
doing the thing. Not doing the thing with the -5.
Okay.
Go. Wow.
Holy crap. Okay, so go
Insane.
ahead and
Wow.
roll your damage.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, so as you shoot... Oh, this is weird. So as you shoot the revolver, being able to find the right moment where there's an opening, as she has like one hand on Alec's blade, the other one out trying to push herself up, you fire the gun, and in a moment, you think that, oh yes, I hit, but somehow, she...
What?
Let me see. Wow, okay. So somehow, she actually, as the bullet is flying at her, she catches the bullet and
What?
deflects it back at you.
That makes no sense.
For
Sure, yeah, let's roll with it.
that's a 17 to hit,
Yeah, that hits.
and that is 9 bludgeoning damage, or 9 piercing damage.
Oh, good, just 9.
As she catches your bullet, because monks are insane, and that's just something they can do. She catches the bullet and flings it back at you. It's seemingly faster than what it fired out of the gun. Somehow, probably with some hint of magic, not just pure physicality, but she does slam it, and as soon you're caught off guard completely. Just what? As she catches the bullet and throws it back at you, it pierces slightly into your skin, and you sort of grab your arm in pain as you take that 9 damage. Whoa. Thanks, Amundo.
Great. You know what? Freaking action surge. They're gonna shoot at this person again. Why
Okay.
the heck not?
Sure.
Yeah.
So still
let's
with
do that.
disadvantage.
Yep.
Still on the ground. Okay, and 11.
Oof.
Sadly, as you're trying to get as good of ground as you had before, a good enough reason, she's much more careful about where she's placing her body, trying to use Alec as a shield, and you're trying your best to aim around him, and you fire the revolver, and it just slams into the mud next to her, missing Alec, luckily, very close to hitting Alec, but also misses the monk. Okay, so Al, that's the end of your turn, unless you want to move it all.
Can I use second wind?
I believe that's a bonus action. Yeah.
Great. I'm gonna do that.
Okay, so it's a
Why
D10
not?
plus your fighter level, I think.
I think so. Yeah. How do I do that again? Slash roll. 1d10 plus.
Okay, you recover 11 hit points. So luckily, you take a moment, refortify your constitution, breathe, take a moment, and just recover your cool, recovering from the hit that you received. So that is it for Al. Now we have Cyrus.
I am going to run out, finally. Ooh. Now the question is, what do I do?
Yeah, you can see Alec and the monk just tackling right on top of each other. You see the mace impacts of the large armored individual, and then you see Sinver, that halfling from the original camp, beginning to looks like he's slowly starting to backstep away.
Just do something.
1 second. Yeah, I am.
I think that's what his turn is for.
Shit. No, I can't reach. I am going to take a attack at the bloke attacking the Doglin.
All right. Yep.
I'm just going to go for a fireball.
All right. Hey. I feel nothing towards this. It is just an attack.
I am completely neutral.
That is an interesting roll that means nothing to me. Roll for damage. Nothing helps. I'm sorry. All right.
Tell my wife I said hello.
So, luckily, you still hit. The fire slams up against the side of the shoulder and armor of the individual, scorching him slightly, but he pats it out and says, "Oh, are you gonna fucking go? I'll be right with you after I fucking kill this dog." As he's angry. Yep. All right. So, anything else on your turn, Cyrus?
Other than yelling it out, no, not really.
All right. So that is the end of your turn. He is dead. Sayla, it is your turn.
Okay, so you said this little asshole is about to probably try and run, right?
Yeah, with you can see he's starting to just little steps, little baby footsteps behind him. Just all right.
Can I run and tackle him with my rope that I have and try and
like hog tie him?
his
Yeah.
ass? Red Dead Redemption 2 style right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. So you run up to him, you go to tackle him. I'd like you to make a strength check for me.
I don't think I've ever done a strength check.
First time for everything.
Oh god, where's strength?
Alrighty. So
Is that not?
I think it's the oh, you just have to click on the skill.
Just click your ability score.
Yeah.
Like just the.
It's
Oh,
the
okay.
big numbers on the left side.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm over here like, where the fuck is strength?
Okay, very cool. So you run up to him, and even though it's not something you do very often, you get all the way up to him, and you are able to tackle him, and you begin to tie the rope around him. You do not have time to do an attack, as tackling and beginning to tie the rope was the action, and your next action will be finishing to tie the rope again. As you start it, and you tackle him onto the ground, so we'll just put you on top of, well, wait a second. To back. There we go. We'll just put you on top of him as you are like on top of him, standing above him. Your like heel is digging into the back of is like on the top of his head, keeping his face pressed in the mud as you are just slowly wrapping around rope around his arms and legs, tying him as best you can, which we will come back to you next turn. Alrighty.
Sweet.
So Bandit here is dead. Morganix, I'd like you to make a charisma saving throw.
Oh god.
Okay. You are not panicking yet. Because
Adrenaline's carrying me through.
the Hexblade says, as you are like starting to freak out and your hands are starting to shake, a very similar feeling you've had time and time again. The Hexblade says, "Oh no, darling, they meant nothing. They were nothing. You are so much better. Relax. It's fun." And even though you don't want to feel better, for some reason you do. And you're not shaking, but you feel very uncomfortable.
Oh yes, that is the understatement of the year.
Okay, do you want to do anything? You can move if you want, but we'll say that was your action there.
This guy going after the doggo.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to cast Hold Person.
Ah, yes. Okay, very good. So
I will click the thingy.
Yes. So that is a Wisdom saving throw. Yes, that is a Wisdom saving throw. All right, very cool. Wisdom. Oh well, hey. Guess what? This guy's really good at.
Uh-oh.
Not wisdom, that's for sure. So as he brings up the mace and like double-handed to slam down on on the back of the neck of the dog, as he's bringing it down with all of his force, he just freezes. His muscles tense, and you can see him begin to scream internally just through his eyes as he doesn't know why he is currently paralyzed. All right, anything else?
Just deep breathing.
All right. So you do. Alrighty, and then he is dead.
Rub it in.
Okay, so Sinver is going to try and loose and break free. Sayla, I'd like you to make another strength check. His athletics check or acrobatics check will be with disadvantage because he's starting to be...
Ow.
Ooh, well, we'll see what happens. Okay, so there's a brief moment where he like starts to slip out of the ropes, but you just grab them even tighter, pulling him by his hair, slamming him back down, tying him around even harder. He just...
If you don't fucking sit still, I'm gonna slit your fucking throat.
I think I'd prefer that than being fucking tied up. Ah! So he's just kind of yelling. And that's the end of his turn. Alrighty, Alec. You, like, and the monk rolling back and forth on top of each other, trading blows, punching, cutting each other. What would you like to do?
Okay. I hate her so much. Can I attempt to, like... I just want to, like, put her in a fucking, like, Kakuna clutch, sleeper hold, and, like, try to snap her neck whilst doing it. So could I, like, roll an attack for that?
Yeah, okay. We'll say just roll an attack with your greatsword, right?
Okay. Do I get advantage because flanking? Perhaps?
I would say no because both of you are prone right now.
Okay, well then if that's the case, I have 5 hit points. I'm gonna reckless attack then.
All right. Okay.
So I will get advantage because I'm
you
at
go.
that point.
Bold choice. Bold move. Very good idea to use the reckless attack, though.
And like I could, what I'm saying is like I will use my greatsword to help me choke her out, and if it just happens to slice through her neck, it just does.
Okay, alrighty. So you roll on top of her and then sort of reposition and using your pure brute strength, pulling her and like rolling back on your back and getting your blade like nestled right up against her neck and her sternum, just pulling closer and closer as she's trying to like smack the back of your head, pull on your hair, like dig her thumbs into your eyes, but you just keep knocking her off and pulling her deeper and deeper and deeper. And I would like you to roll a D100. Anything below a 50, she is just knocked out. But anything above a 51, you halfway decapitate.
Oh, ooh, let's hope for the higher. Oh, fuck yes!
Okay, so you pulling her closer in your rage. That was unfair. Jamie. So, in your rage, not being able to see past the pure strength that you're exhibiting, you just begin to slowly, like slicing meat, just run the blade back and forth on her neck until you get about halfway through and she stopped moving. And you just pull your sword out because you know that she's not worth it the rest of the way to give her that clean of a death. And you push her off your body as she's just slowly seeping out blood, halfway decapitated like a Pez dispenser. And
She's just gonna lay there, just breathing heavily, covered in blood. And her doggo, though, is gonna go after this bitch.
all right, so he gets advantage on the attack because he's paralyzed. And actually, let me look up something real quick. Paralyzed. Rise D&D 5. Conditions. Frightened, grappled, incapacitated, paralyzed. Okay, go ahead and roll. Oh, you already rolled with advantage. Okay, so that is a 19. That hits. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Nom 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 nom.
-7. Woo! Alrighty, so biting in, ripping from its thighs, easy enough, able to tear flesh out of this guy as he just, you can see his throat just beginning to bulge with veins as he just screaming in pain but not able to vocalize it almost at all. Okay, so that is the end of your turn and the doggo's turn. The monk is dead. He is paralyzed. Does he gets a wisdom saving throw at the end of his turn, right?
I believe so, yeah. At the end of each of its turns, the target can make another wisdom saving throw.
Very cool. I doubt I L.A. Noir this. Yep, that's a 2. All right. So he just, as he can't break free. Al, it is your turn. What you doing, bud?
Al is just gonna take a shot at this dude after moving a bit down here.
Okay, so you have advantage on your attack because he is currently paralyzed.
Oh, nice. Advantage.
Easy target. Alrighty, so that 20 does hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
6.
6 points of piercing damage. Alrighty, very cool. So I will. So with 6 points of piercing damage, the bullet slams into him, just creating more damage just all around his body as the dog is digging into the inner thigh unarmored, and the bullet slams into the shoulder. He's looking rough, but he's still hanging in there, and he's really starting to scream through his eyes, of course, not actually vocally. All right, so Al, that is the end of your turn, unless you wanted to move at all.
There.
So you just take a step back,
Okay.
trying to stay away from it as much as you can. All right, anything else?
Much. Nope.
All right, very cool. So then, Cyrus, we have you. What are you doing?
I'm going to take a completely neutral action and have absolutely no emotional investment to it. When it decides to actually roll the said neutral ability.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. That does indeed hit. Go ahead and roll your damage. Nothing matters. It doesn't. All right. Next time we should just scream at it. All right. So
What
Oh,
kind
wait a
of
second.
dice is that rolling?
you did have advantage on the attack because he is paralyzed. So we'll see if it was a natural 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Huh? Nah, all right. Well, whatever. So, luckily, still hits. The fire still slams into his other side, and this time as he's not able to pat it out, you can still see the fire beginning to lick across his face, doing a little bit more damage than it did last time. But eventually it slowly fades out. Okay, anything else?
No. No, I'm cool.
Alrighty. And that. Alrighty. Sayla, I would like one last strength check as you finish tying the hog tie, as he one last time tries his best to escape. Okay. Alrighty. So you got that first one. Let's see what happens. Dexterity. Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, you as he eventually, it seems like he just resigns himself as he was struggling, but as that last knot gets tied and he really can't move except for roll it all, he just kind of, it seems like he just gives up because of how easily you're able to tie him up and finish tying him. And as he sort of rolls around on the ground, just as there's part of the rope that's like now tied up in his mouth so he can't yell too loud. He just
Fucking sucks to be short.
as he just kind of like rolls around on the ground. And yeah, so then we have that. All right, and then Morganix, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
I would like to come and like hop down the rocks and land next to Alec.
Okay, I'd like you to make an athletics check real quick. It's not too hard, but just to see how much grace you do it with. Okay, so yeah, easy enough. There are large rocks that you're able to bounce one after the other down and land right behind Alec.
And I will lay healing hands on her and give her 3 hit points.
Aw. Alright, Alec, you recover 3 hit points. You feel some of your wounds begin to close as slowly the rage begins to fade just a little bit. Not too much yet, but just a little bit as the healing hands hit. Alrighty, so that the end of your turn?
Just silent, angry tears.
Alright, yep, Sinver's not even going to try to escape. Alec, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Okay. So after like laying on the ground, just kind of breathing and letting the blood just soak into her skin and enjoying that moment, she's going to get up off the ground and look around. And sorry, Sayla, Alec is not level-headed when she's raging. He's still alive, right?
Yes, he is.
Oh god.
Okay. Well, hopefully not for any longer. Seeing that he's still alive, Alec, with her greatsword, is going to just charge over there at him.
Okay, alrighty, so...
And hopefully make an attack.
Yep, that's a hit. Roll your damage.
Sorry.
Jesus Christ. So with 16 points of damage, you just pierce into him, just out like long ways, in one side of his body, out the other like a shish kebab, and pull it out as the spell Morganix drops, as you feel all of the life leave his body as it falls limply onto the ground with a thud as he slowly begins to seep out blood. So,
Lovely.
yes. Out of, so at this moment, Sinver tied up all of the rest of them, the blood beginning to seep from them, and victory finally achieved. You see the door of that cart begin to open, and you see this large, pudgy half-elf man emerge from the cart, and he says, "Well, it's from a pleasure that all of you would do what you did for me. The name is Thomas Myanthes. It is a great pleasure to, well, that you all would do such a kind thing." And as the chubby man introduces himself, as all of you are soaked in blood and trauma, or just frustration, we are going to go ahead and take our break right there. Woo.
Does
Well,
Al have blood on him?
A little bit, yeah. From the splatters from when you were hit with the bullet of your own.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Then the second afterward, I was like, and then I wasn't hurt anymore.
Yeah. You regained some of your composure. It's not like you weren't bleeding anymore.
No.
Yeah.
All of it. Like I regained all of my hit points.
Oh, I know, and I'm saying from a flavor perspective, while you were at full hit points, you were still bleeding. You just regained your stamina. The second wind ability isn't like magical healing. It's just I'm going to catch my breath for a second.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because HP in D&D is a combination of your like life total and also the stamina that you have. So like, you know,
I guess.
if you're in a sword fight with one other person in real life, obviously, you know, but you know, you don't take 17 cuts and then you're dead. It's normally you run out of breath or you make one wrong move and then that's how you die. So because D&D, you're like fantasy heroes, right? You can take a couple of like deadly hits, but then usually the last one is because you run out of breath or it is just a brutal kill.
Air quote deadly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so yeah, we'll go ahead and take a break. Oh fuck, Pez dispenser. I'll take a break.
Oh my god.
Water, food, and we'll be back in 5-10 minutes.
Great.
All right.
Now I am.
Audio and video.
Yes. Yes.
Video.
Both of them. I'm not using that program anymore, so we'll never run into that issue ever again. That was
Thank
terrible.
God.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Stupid idiot program.
It's not your fault.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on. It's never done that before.
Yeah, Roll20 is just a jerk sometimes.
The
Yeah.
universe is freaking with you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Alrighty. So on that note, after having made your way partially through the slumbering jungle, and now having dealt with a group of screaming weasels and capturing Sinver, a halfling bandit with a bounty of 50 gold on his head, hog-tied, gagged. As soon as you finish up that and dispatch of the rest of the bandits, this chubby half-elf man exits the cart where both of the horses had died and pelted with several arrows, and he introduces himself. He says, I have to thank you quite a bit for saving me. My name is Thomas Myanthes. It's a great honor to, have been saved. I really can't thank you enough for your, for your good deeds. Yes, I probably should find some type of reward for you. Yes, and you see him go back into his cart, and you can see that he's got like a chest that he's holding on to, like underneath his like left arm, and he sort of looks back in his carriage and, it's a little more difficult. I most of the things I would, I don't think they're going to be very valuable to any of you. Do any of you? And he's like pokes his head back out, as you can see, like his chubby cheeks jiggling as he moves his face back out of the cart. Do any of you like incense or tea? I do have some of those that I'd be willing to part with. No, you know what? You saved my life. I should be more thankful. And I sorry if I come off a little shaky. It's just quite a bit of a stressful situation that I am emerging from. And he'll go in the cart and he'll open up that chest that he was holding. And you can see him sort of just look into it for a second. And he shuts the chest, leaves it in the cart, and brings out a small bag. He says, I see now, 1, 2, 3, 4. And looking down at the halfling who's hogtied, he's gonna say, that one probably is not with you, is it?
No.
Good. And he sort of like wobbles up to each one of you. For you, young lady with the scary demeanor, one platinum piece. And he walks over to you, Cyrus. For the quite dashing individual, one platinum piece.
Oh, thank you very much.
And for the young boy here with a boy's grin, one platinum piece. And looking down at you, Alec, just kind of covered in blood. One platinum piece for the terrifying warrior. And kind of sets it down on the ground next to you.
She will
You
pick it up.
you really don't need to give me anything.
Oh, no. A job done is worth a job being paid for, and then wobbles over to Morganix last and says that. And for you, quite beautiful. And puts the last platinum coin in your hand. Yes, well, if you don't mind me asking, as he sort of wobbles his way back to the cart, I have to ask what not very many people would stop robbery like this, especially in Efera. I have to ask what compelled you to do your good deed for the day, I suppose.
I knew they wouldn't let me just walk away.
Well, I admire your tenacious honesty.
It would be tough to do some field research if I was bothered by morality.
More honesty, yes. Law of honesty, and honesty is the greatest trait a person can possess. And you see him like sit on the cart, and it kind of like wobbles a little bit as he sits down. And you can count that your morals are correct, and I won't bother you any further. Sorry if I was ever a bother to any of you. I appreciate your service, but I suppose I'll wait for someone to come help. You can see his fingers are like laced on top of his stomach, which is now this large sort of sphere just around.
Would he even fit in our cart?
Yeah, he would. He would.
Were you headed down that way, or pointing in the direction? Al says, pointing in the direction that they were heading.
Well, I was heading to New Vodalka, but sadly, I don't think that I should walk the rest of the way. There's an inn that way. It seems as though all of you are heading.
Yes, the nearest inn is that way.
Yes, just follow the road. But it's only maybe 3 more hours that way, and I would probably just wait for another group to take me back there, and hopefully buy a new horse and cart, and maybe a few guards on the way. But
The guards are a good idea.
If you'd like, we could take you. I don't know. We could strap the cart onto ours.
No, there's nothing in that cart really that I'm too tied to. Just some clothes and a few snacks and a couple pitchers of water. But other than that, I'm okay with leaving quite almost the rest of it in the cart. The bandits will pick it clean. All that matters to me is this chest. Holding up the small box that he had taken the platinum out earlier. This is really my prized possession, and I wasn't going to let those dastardly devils get it without I don't want to think what they would have done in order to get it, but I wasn't going to give it to them easily.
You're very trusting.
I see.
Yes, it's my best quality.
Quite. I enjoy trusting people.
Oh, well, honesty and trust go hand in hand.
So I'm sure we'll get together like peas in a pod in these last 4 hours on the road.
Morgonix is gonna go examine the bodies
Okay,
briefly.
go ahead and make an investigation check.
While she's doing that, can Alec, and she's still kind of like coming down from her rage, look around to see if there are any like tracks around that are like belonging to like the gnolls, maybe?
Yes. Go ahead and make an, we'll say a survival check if you're looking for tracks specifically. So, Morganix, you find a total on all of the bodies of 125 copper, 45 silver pieces. Okay.
Wait 1 second. 125 copper,
Yes.
45 silver.
Yep. And then 12 gold. Just memorizing. Okay. So yeah, you do take a moment on that young woman, very matted, dirty blonde hair, where it's almost brown, but you know that that's just from mud and a lack of a place to wash. A pockmarked face, and a rather oval, narrow face. And you take a moment, and then you don't loot her body, but you move on to the rest of them.
I
And-
mean, practicality wins over. I'll loot her too, but I won't feel good about it.
Okay, so yeah, you open up different bags, and you take the coin, and moving on to the rest of them.
Did Salis see that she was the one that caused the death of that girl?
It would be easy for you to assume, because you heard the crack and then saw her fall, and then the crack of the neck, and then the splat.
Okay.
And
Funneling
Morgana
that away
pretty
for
much
later.
has, like, quiet, angry tears. Like, she's not even bothering trying to hide it.
Yeah. So you continue to dig through the bodies, taking the coin, and Thomas,
Yes, well, they won't be needing it anymore, and if it helps your venture at all, I only see that is the practical thing to do. Yeah.
Shit.
so he just sort of sits in the cart, just hitting his just like,
Joe,
yeah.
I suppose I found nothing. I rolled a 7.
Oh, sorry, my bad. No, yeah, you.
No, it's okay. I just assumed.
Yeah, you survey the like 30 feet around, and you really don't see any knoll tracks, as this area right here seems to be a bit more of a clearing, and is not as dense or thick with trees. So you don't
Okay.
see any tracks this close to the road.
All right, thank you.
Okay. As he sort of like pats out a beat on his stomach and just sort of hums. And Cyrus, as you're standing next to the cart, he says,
So, where are you from?
That's a long story.
Well, I've got time.
as he just sort of looks up at you, smiling.
Where are you from, Raz?
Oh, yes, well, I am from a place called Thrall. Yes, I was born and raised in a city called Port Lemnos, and well, Port Lemnos is a city surrounded by rolling hills and olive trees, and it's really quite a pretty place. Yes, the rolling hills. Yeah, it's very nice. I grew up. My father was a ship merchant who would leave town every 3 months or so, and my mother served as a barmaid. And so I found a love for trading and selling supplies for coin. And,
Holly kind of just walks over her. And she's still covered in blood, but she's not raging anymore. So, strangely enough, this once, like, savage-esque appearance, she kind of just, like, looks kindly, even though she's blood-soaked.
My dear, would you like a handkerchief or something to wipe off that
Oh, this is. I wear this with honor, but I thank you.
Yes, there were many heroes who I remember wearing blood with honor, so please, please
Um,
do.
I just, not to be rude, but to interrupt, it might be best if we keep moving. We should not be around when others discover the mess we have made here. It is best to leave.
Or we could just clean up.
Um,
Throw. Oh,
What
sorry, Cyrus.
what about him? And I just kind of kick him.
Throw him in the cart.
So he just sort of yelps.
Well, I suppose if there's only shit left in the cart, no offense, darling. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't particularly want to help the bandit population. I'll just fucking burn it.
Oh, I suppose it. Oh, here, let me get my things out real quick, and then I guess feel free. Oh, this is rather exciting. I've never burned anything before. Ooh.
We could toss all the bodies inside the cart and put it alight.
I'm not dragging any fucking bodies. I mean, I'll burn it, but I'm not touching the. Oof, Christ.
It is way more of an honorable death than they deserve, but if you feel that that is what is right, Al, I will assist you.
Well, it's not necessarily what's morally right, but it's definitely the shoot, what was I gonna say?
We could leave them,
It's
and
definitely the most logically helpful.
we would be feeding the forest. That is helpful.
I mean, if you want to drag the bodies and the horses into the forest, I mean, go right ahead.
I will take them from the road, but they have taken from this land. It is only right that the land takes back. And I'll
Alright.
just
You wanna bring
haphazardly drag some bodies.
Okay, so as the
Grab them
two,
by their ankles. She don't
Yeah.
give a shit.
yeah, as the two of you grab and pull the bodies off to the side of the cart, or off into the cart. As you get one to the door, Thomas is still in there, and he says, Please, just 1 second. I'm trying to decide if I should keep the lilac tunic or the alabaster tunic. Is there
Why not both?
You said both? Oh, you know what? I never thought of that before. Both, and they'll fit right in my box. Thank you, Cyrus. Oh wait.
Oh shit!
Oh, no.
What's your name?
Thank you. Sorry, sir. I don't believe I ever caught your name.
It's you know what? Just call me Al.
Al, well, young one. Thank you for that. Yes, both. Ha! Both is a very good idea.
and he'll take the lilac tunic and the alabaster tunic, folding them up, put them in his box, and he comes out of the cart with a jug of water and a chest in the other hand.
All right. Well, please,
Looking down at the bodies.
you know, I know they were going to do something very terrible to me, but it's still it's odd to see them not moving. Well, not moving under their own force. You know what I mean?
And he'll kind of sidestep out of the way.
All right, well, load them up, I suppose.
And kind of step back 10 or 15 more feet.
Alex will put some in the car, and then she'll just kind of also toss like 1 or 2 out into the forest, so they can decompose out there.
Okay.
Yes, death is certainly an interesting state of being.
Tad too permanent for me.
Okay. So you open, or you throw. How many did you want to put out in the forest? Like just one or two?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you put one or two out into the forest, and you put the others of them into the cart, sort of stacking them on top of one another. And then Thomas he sets the things off to the side.
And he comes over to you, Cyrus. So, how do you intend to light it on fire? I don't see. You didn't have a torch or anything like that.
Darling, a torch is very gauche, and I just set my hand on fire.
And you see him clap, or you see him like chuckle and jiggle a little bit, and he claps like a very like two-handed like little golf clap.
That is very interesting. How are you hot? Is your hand hurt? How did that?
I mean, no, it's fine. I mean, don't ask my friends here. I fucked up a few times.
Well, your secret is safe with me. Oh, someone's never told me a secret before. That's cool.
And he just kind of giggles and
please, be my guest.
You might want to step back. I'll be honest. I've not burned this shit before. I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, yes, I'll step back.
and he just kind of makes sure that he's like shoulder to shoulder with you. He's into it.
And yeah, I'm gonna try.
Wait, can Al just grab a jug of water real quick?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's the only one that's really close is the one that he has in his hand.
Oh.
Yeah, because your card is a little ways back right now.
Oh, I mean, like, can Al have gotten one of the jugs
you
of
guys hear me?
water from in the cart? Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I've got a message saying my connection to the server has been interrupted.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm gonna reset again.
Okay. Oh man.
So sorry. So there was an additional jug of water in the cart that you could grab, like inside his cart.
Great. Can I grab it?
Yeah, sure.
Like, just real quick.
Yeah.
Great. +1 jug of water. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, just because Al hasn't had anything to drink all day.
Okay. Yeah, you're a little parched, so you take a sip when you want, and it is refreshing.
Yay.
Alrighty. So Thomas standing next to you, Cyrus, right after Al goes into the cart, grabs a jug of water, comes back out.
Behold, and I just kind of set it on fire.
Okay, so yeah, you chuck a couple of firebolts at it. It's really easy to hit. It is broadside of the barn. You know, it's very easy. And after 3 or 4, eventually the entire things begin to crackle and fall in on itself until it is a fairly tall pyre of cart and wood and fabric and humanoid body that is currently burning and releasing smoke up into the air. And he's just like,
oh, that is, oh my, look at how big that is. Well, you were right. It's a good thing we stepped back, or who knows? I could have lost my eyebrows. Don't want to lose those. That's very interesting. Well, you all are such a fun group of people. Can all of the rest of you also fire your hands?
I fire a gun.
I
That
prefer
is a skill
just
to be sure as
stab
well.
things with my sword.
Sorry, what was that, dear?
Oh, she just kind of awkwardly says, I just prefer to stab things with my sword.
But you know how to wield one. You can.
and you see him kind of like go to like slice and chop, and it's very clumsy and definitely like a kid at play.
So you know how to slice and chop and deflect blows and. Really?
Yes, but whatever you were doing was not that.
Oh, oh yes. I have received no martial training. Well, I did when I was younger, but I was no good at it, so they decided to.
Like, without like intentionally being like rude, she just legitimately thinks he's brainless.
Oh yeah, and he doesn't seem to take any offense. You just see him get a little sad.
Oh well.
Aww.
I wasn't very good at it, so they took me away and they said that you would be help. Your mother was the with the bar. But enough of that. I'm afraid I've talked your ear off enough already. Do you have a cart that you've been traveling with, or are we hiking?
There we go.
Oh no, we have a cot.
Hooray.
Very good. And I hope that I'm crystal clear. If any of you would like to wait, not to have me along, I definitely understand that, and I can wait by the fire. And
No, he smells very nice. He smells like a combination of perfume and very flowery, very delicate smells.
Gross.
I think it would be safer if we take you with us.
yes, I don't want to be a burden on anyone. I would honestly just prefer that I wait by the fire. I don't want to inconvenience any of you at all.
We're going that way anyway. And Morgonix will just go back for the cart and lead it up. Horsey. Francois.
Yes, all right. Well, if you say so, if I ever become too much, just tell me, and I'll hop off the cart and I'll foot it.
And you can see him like survey around all of you and
Yes.
and kind of wobble his way following Morganix back to the cart.
I'm assuming sailors carrying or like dragging the timber.
Yeah, who Sayla, are you dragging him, picking him up? What are you doing there?
Dragging's more painful.
Okay. So yeah, just face in the mud, just every once in a while, especially once you get on the path, it's like cobbled stone, so it's just scratching his face. And eventually, after 7 or 8 drags, you see the blood begin to, like, of the scratches on his cheek and the side of his face from you just pulling him on the ground.
After that, they did
I
say
guess
that
I don't
they
want him
wanted
to
alive.
die. Yeah, I guess I don't want him to die. Anyone want to carry him?
Throw him in the cart. But
That
no, don't throw
works.
him. Place him, please. Please, God, place him in the cart.
Wouldn't
She
want to
throws
damage
him
anything in the
anyway.
cot.
She throws him anyway.
So yeah, easy enough. Pick him up and just toss him. He lands on one of the tents, and you can hear something go. He just kind of yelps. He's like, as you look at his the side of his face just bleeding profusely, and his eye is starting to puff up a little bit. Seems like you might have dragged him into a stone 1 or 2 times.
Oh man.
No sympathy. They kidnapped my ass.
If he dies of blood loss. Gosh.
So you throw him in the cart. You get back on the cart, and you continue on the road.
Now we only have space for one of the party members to be on the cart.
Oh, Alex should go first.
Oh yeah, I will lead the way.
Yeah, well, there's 2.
No, I meant you should take a rest first. You need it more than I do.
Yeah, that's 8 HP.
Oh man.
I told you that monk was monk and barbarian.
Yeah, I'm gonna step out the back.
Al will walk in front of the cart with his revolver out. He's loading it.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Damn.
Needed.
Awesome.
Nice.
Very nice.
So he's in the back of
I
the
assume
cart.
I'd rather take a short rest here. Sorry, I just kind of preemptively rolled.
No, you're good. Oh, oops. Okay. Sorry. Alrighty. And then we're just gonna do obviously not the same thing, but I'm just gonna drop the doggle in here. This is this is gonna be Thomas. He doesn't have a token. So Thomas walking alongside of the cart, wobbling and getting slower every 20, 30 minutes or so. as you guys.
He doesn't need to carry his stuff though. Like that could go in the back.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Cool.
He's still carrying
What-
his chest with him.
Oh, been there, buddy.
Yeah.
Would we be going faster if I don't know if I should say this in character or out of character. Would we be going faster if he was in the cart?
It's not really affecting your speed too much, you know. You're gonna get there at about the same time, but
right.
yeah, you can
definitely-
tell that it's slowing you down a little bit. Not so much that it's affecting when you're gonna arrive, but just a little bit.
Okay.
He sort of slowly wobbles along and says, "So, I'm not really used to walking this much, but you know, it's nice to be able to take in the atmosphere and the foliage and the trees. It's really quite nice. So, I you know, I'm not exactly a fan of the colorful cauldron in that much. It's not my favorite place really. I've been to much more comfortable inns, but it's nice enough, and I'm sure all of you will get along quite nice there.
Thomas.
Al looks around in the forest, and then he looks back to Thomas. It's better than sleeping in the forest now, isn't it?
No.
And he looks to you, Alec, and well, I'm sure for someone I'm sorry. What was your name? I don't believe I caught it.
Alex Silverfoot. She doesn't even give you the whole spiel.
Alec here. I'm sure it's comfortable for someone like her. Not comfortable for someone like her. There's quite an abundance of beds and such that are elevated off the ground.
I meant for you, actually.
Oh, for me, it's well. I'm used to feather beds, not the hardwood with only.
Oh my god,
A
yes.
soft linen.
What would you rather between that particular inn or sleeping, I don't know, on a rock?
Oh, that inn, yes, indeed, 1,000 times yes. Yes, feather beds are the way to go, though. Cyrus.
Right, but between that and what the situation you're in right now, I mean, I wouldn't be complaining.
No, I meant no. Since I was just trying to make small talk. Sorry, it's never been something I've been exceptionally good at. I was just trying my best. Yeah, sorry. I'll try and think of some new things to talk about.
I've never been the best at reading people.
He's just quiet.
Emotions. No.
He just kind of shuts down.
Thomas, have you heard any rumors of natives attacking travelers along this road?
Well, it's not something I ever ran into, but
Just now.
oddly enough, closer to New Efera, I have heard word that there have been deranged natives, seemingly mad with some type of bloodlust or something of the sort, that have been doing some grotesque things to some travelers along the roads. Never to people with bodyguards, but merchants traveling by themselves to, well, frankly, to poor folks like me.
Is there any proof that it's actually natives, or is that just a easy scapegoat?
Well, there have been some natives that have been apprehended by the lawbearers, and well, they are fairly similar to Alec here.
Well, what do you mean deranged? What is this word?
Mad. They are. Believe me, I have had there is a woman in New Efera who I've gotten to know fairly well. Coming to his shop is your culture. Honestly, it fascinates me quite a lot. But I've become quite friendly with her when it comes to trading information. And your people, well, they can be quite. They are quite complex and really quite interesting. But these ones seem
much simpler and animalistic in their qualities. I frankly have never seen one of the ones they've captured, but they
Does
yes.
it sound like anything I would know about?
Honestly, for you, no.
Okay.
It was never something that you ever experienced in Congiato.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, they're always whenever they the ones that have been captured and that people have seen. I've heard that they are a little more gaunt usually, and their veins all along their face and body are visible and a sort of murky green, greenish black color.
Mm.
So yes, they typically look quite well, quite terrifying, really.
Alex is like staring at him, very confused.
I mean no offense at all. Like I said, I do find your people very very interesting, and I just yes, it's honestly just a little nerve wracking to think about what might happen if was they were to get their hands on me. I've heard horror stories of them hanging people from their toes from trees, and
This is not true. You are lying. We do not do these things.
Didn't.
We do not do these things. Are you sure that they were not being mistaken for these weasels? I mean,
oh no,
considering what we just, you know,
um, I,
have been through.
I really don't believe so. The weasels are very well, they're mostly not very smart. As I'm sure you have encountered them before, they are in a method of ambushing still, but then well, I don't know. They really don't have any plan aside from ambushing. And they really ambush anyone, so they will attack guards, they will attack merchants, they'll attack armed caravans. It really does not matter to them. They'll attack anyone. But as I said, well, these mysterious individuals, I'll say now, they seem to single out people traveling alone, and they do a fairly grotesque display of them on the road. As some people say, it's a warning.
A warning for what?
Well, people gossip, you know. I don't think that anyone knows the real reason that these are happening, but some people say a warning that if the expansion of Efera doesn't stop, they will do something worse, or perhaps this is a sign from the old gods that if it does not stop, Itashari will swallow Efera back into the sea, or honestly, I have no idea. It's just typically involves the people who are colonists and new to Efera, and the natives and keeping them safe. Allegedly, of course. I've never seen any of it firsthand. Just second and third hand knowledge, really.
Alex is just kind of staring at him, and mind you, she still has like blood all over her, and some of it's like starting to dry at this point. So she's kind of like crusty, half dried blood. She's not looking at him aggressively yet, but you can tell she's kind of annoyed with everything he's had to say.
Yeah. And he does make a little bit of a mental note, and he's like,
Of course, like I said, I really don't know. I just have been simple them. Merchant, like I said, all second and third hand information. I try not to buy into the gossip and rabble of the everyday folk. You know, it's a great way to fall into a despair and fear.
Please stop talking.
Yes, I will.
And she will turn away.
and you see him. He waits a moment and he tries, and then he just gives up.
Good.
So all of you continue to make your way down the road, clicking along. And there are a few times where you pass a few other caravans heading heading towards New Verdalka, away from New Efera, and eventually an hour longer passes, and you can definitely tell Thomas is really starting to wheeze, and he's like, "I'm sorry, but if it's no problem to any of you, I would love just a second to just breathe. Um, I'm not used to this much moving around."
Morganix will look to Alec and Sayla and say, "Would you two mind trading places to let Thomas and I have a rest?"
Yes. Mm-hmm. And she'll kind of jump out of the cart.
Thank you. Sorry.
Fine.
Thank you. And Morganix will hop up.
So you're kind of on the edge of your seat. He definitely does take up quite a bit of space just in this two-seater here. So you're kind of squished in, but you can still take your short rest. And as you're just sort of sitting there breathing, trying to put everything in order, he says,
Well, I don't think that I've caught your name, my dear.
Morganix.
Morganic. Well, that is enchanted. It's a very, very beautiful name. So you're
and he kind of leans over and he says,
I didn't mean to cause any offense earlier. I was just trying to be honest, as you know, you're the young boy Al and that mysterious woman were doing to me. I thought that was the polite thing to do, is to be honest with people. But then I feel as though she might be angry with me or something of the sort.
It's it's a touchy subject. We need the information, though, so we are prepared for what we're going into. But something doesn't feel right about it all.
Yes. No, yes, honestly, the whole situation is very, very terrible and interesting. I mean, if it's not natives, why would someone be doing that? And if it is, well, why would they be doing that? So many questions. Yes.
What did you recently leave New Efera?
Yes,
Or-
I was actually, I just left about 7 days ago, about a week ago.
What was it? Was there a heavy soldier presence with the trading company?
Um, no. Which one are you talking in reference to? There wasn't really any type of military presence. As, New Efera has its own military system in place. It's a rather independent city on its own. So there was no military presence like that, and the military guard presence has been the same as it always is. Nothing too out of the ordinary, at least when I left.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
and you can see him reach into a small bag on his side and pull out a piece of dried meat and just begin to slowly chew on it. And he doesn't chew with his mouth open. He's not a slob, but he is definitely...
Oh, thank God.
yeah, no, he's chewing with his mouth closed, and you can tell that he has great, like, table manners, and he does try and make a little bit more room for you after kind of seeing a little bit of uncomfort, but he just can't really scoot over anymore and just kind of decides to lean off to the side.
I just pretend like it's fine, like nothing's wrong.
Okay, so
Not to notice. Just be polite.
as he's chewing, and he sort of looks behind him.
So, was that man there? Was he one of the bandits that were attacking?
Yes, we've run into him before, and we plan to collect the bounty on him.
Oh, yes. One less bandit is one less problem. Yes. Huh. Very interesting.
I mean,
I'm not opposed to us having a few words before we turn him in. I mean, he was looking for us.
I don't think he was. I think his friend was so stupid they didn't know what they were looking for.
It might be wise to speak with him. He could have more information. Is he awake back there?
Yeah,
still?
he's just kind of like consigned himself and is just laying on the ground. And
Was he gonna stab him or anything, or is he just?
no, he's
eyeballing
not
it?
even trying to escape. He's just kind of given up and is just laying there.
Okay. Alec will kind of just like backpedal a little bit, and she's not gonna say anything. She's just gonna grab him by the scruff of his neck and just like pull him up. Okay. You could not do that. Um. She's just gonna hold him up to see if anybody has questions for him.
Why did you take Sayla? And I point to Sayla.
Oh yes, take his gag off, please.
I'll do that.
We gag him.
And he looks to Sayla. We didn't want her. We wanted her. And looking at Morganix. I told them to get the godling, not the whatever the fuck she is. We wanted.
Why do you keep calling me that?
Because I can't say the actual fucking Asimir. I don't fucking know. Fuck.
And what were you going to do with me once you had me?
Well, it's I don't think I really want to tell you.
I think you had better. And I summon the Hexblade.
Ooh, go ahead and make an intimidation check.
Librarian has had a bad day and needs to blow off steam. I'm still new at intimidation.
That's okay for someone who is hogtied right now and has really no options. He says, "Okay, just please, just don't hurt me. Is that for right now? I'll tell you whatever you want. Just please don't hurt me right now, please."
Dismiss the Hexblade.
All right, good. So, and Alec, are you still holding him by the scruff of his neck?
Oh yes, very much so, very tightly. Like her hand could probably fit around his throat.
Okay. And I hate to be the really nitpicky, but could you also let go of my neck and just sit me straight up?
If
Please.
you stay still and answer our questions.
I swear on everything, I will sit as still as you want me to. And
Okay, because I will kill you. You know this.
oh no, I'm aware. I saw what happened to
Great.
10 other people. What you did to them. I know. I am well aware. Please.
Alec smiles at that, and she will let go of him. Give him a pat on the head.
And he moves his neck around. Oh.
So?
Yes. I work for a man called Advan. And
Al blinks.
Advan is he's a human. He has spent a lot of his time working with these two other individuals. I don't know much about them, but Advan told us that there was a good chance that there was a godling who had made their way to New Efera, or to Efera, who had something that someone he was in contact with wanted. And so we were supposed to keep an eye out on the road for a godling. And fucking Chas, the fucking idiot he was, didn't know the difference between a fucking goat and a sheep, so he couldn't figure out what the fuck he was taking. Fuck. But apparently you have something that somebody close to him wants, and so he having some type of presence in Efera, I was told to keep an eye out on you. for someone like you, and you know what? I bet that fucking
Someone
blade.
like me, what does that mean? Like, how do you know what you are looking for?
You got the. I mean, am I the only one who sees it? Just the flawless skin and the perfect eyes and the wonderful
Can I
luscious.
insight Morganax?
Yeah, make an insight check.
Because Alec is like standing next to the cart and next to him just in case it makes any sudden movements. But ever since he said that word, she doesn't know what that is. So she's just kind of like looking at Morganax, trying to figure out if she missed something.
Okay. Morganax, are you telling the truth?
On what specifically?
Well, Alec, what were you trying to insight?
So that's a really good question. Like if she, like when that word was said, did she react to it?
Yes.
Okay, but like as in she understood what it was.
She had an idea and she was troubled by it.
Okay, that works for me. Alex still isn't gonna say anything. She's just kind of looking at you now.
So on top of all that, and then I saw it during the fight after you just you killed that Isabel. After you fucking killed Isabel by breaking her legs and then pushing her off that cliff, breaking her neck, and you went up to that one, the big scary strong one who keeps threatening to kill me, and you just touched her, and some of her wounds closed. I only know one type of person, well, two types of people who can do that. There's the godlings, and then there's fucking priesty asshole guy that was also killed.
Oh shit! Yeah, I burned him.
Honestly, I'm not that upset about it. He was fucking whacked, but anyway, you still burned him, and so so obviously you're the godling, you're the person. I don't know the fucking exactsies of it, but it's fucking. You've got some connection to something, and it's less about who you are, but what you have. That's what it is, and I'm sure that fucking weird smoky blade you keep pulling out of your ass, I'm sure that has something to do with what Advan wants.
Whoa.
Oh shit.
What is it he wants? What does she have?
He said something. It was a piece of metal. It was a like a hilt to a blade. It was something like that. And it wasn't Advan that wanted it. It was Advan's. It was one of Advan's friends. It is a companion of his that wanted it.
Have you seen them?
I saw.
Do you know their names?
I don't really know the other two's names, but I know Advan. He I know him. But the other two, the Silent and the Ox, I don't know them at all.
Librarian, huh?
I didn't mean to kill that woman. And she just turns away and looks up front.
Yeah, you sure fucking made it seem like you didn't want to
I
fucking kill her.
will punch him in the face.
Oh, ah, fuck.
And then put his gag back in. Alright, that's enough. You can lay back down as well, and she'll just like push him over.
Okay. As you can see, his one half of his jaw is just kind of hanging loosely. And I will go ahead and add this to everyone's journal now. Advan, leader of screaming weasels. Show to players. Show to everyone.
Oh,
better known as just the Weasel.
looks like it.
And you can see Thomas, he sort of, well, that was quite exciting. Oh, never seen that before. Oh, you all live quite exciting lives. Oh my. Oh dear. And you can see that he's definitely
Hey, bud, it's trash night.
overwhelmed. So at about this point, all of you have been traveling for quite some time. Eventually you reach hour 4 and then hour 5 with nothing but silence. Even Thomas is reading the situation well enough to know that maybe he shouldn't talk. And Doggelin, he definitely pipes up too and lets you know that he's upset as well. Because he really wants to tear the throat out of the halfling man. You get that vibe.
I trained him well.
Okay. So eventually, after hour 4 or 5, as the sun begins to set and dip below the trees, and darkness comes over the jungle, you can see light in the distance, torchlight, and you see small tents scattered across a raised plateau with a red and green and blue and yellow roofed building, large, 3 stories tall, and several other smatterings of buildings around it. All of you have reached the colorful Cauldron Inn. So, as you are pulling up, you can see that there's, like I said, there's a collection of tents and a well, and there is a small pond that is right next underneath the cliffside, the plateaued area. And there's a bunch of lily pads, and there's different like fish and amphibian creatures that are just sort of swimming around and pulling out. And as you get there, you can hear quite a few people talking, but the talking begins to come down towards the end of the night as the sun is beginning to set. But as you all get to about here, right up at the top of the plateau, no doors or gates or anything like that. All of you get up to the top. Most people have gone into their tents. There's only a few torches lit. Along your path towards the main building, all of you hear this blood-curdling scream. This. What do all of you want to do?
Whoa.
I take it we're gonna go help whoever that was.
What direction is this coming from?
It is coming from the well, right over here. So you guys are right here, and there's maybe a few clusters of tents that are right there, but you hear the scream. What do you do?
Sayla's resigned herself to the fact that they're gonna get involved in some way, more than likely.
Okay.
Yeah, Morganix is gonna hop out of the car and
over
run
there.
that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow.
So you.
Sayla
gang.
just sighs and gets down and just trails along after him like, I knew they were gonna fucking get involved again. More shit that we don't need to fucking do.
Okay. So is all of you, Al, are you also hopping off the cart?
I wasn't on the cart, but I sure am
You're gonna follow
following and looking to go find the thing because Al is the ever curious Al.
Okay, so you hear the blood-curdling scream, and as you sort of run past some of the tents and you get to the end where that scream was, all you see is the body of a dwarf man. His face and features are gaunt and dried out, and you see that he's bleeding from the top of his head, and there are 2 small holes in his neck. And as all of you are sort of looking at the body, other people coming out of the tents looking to see what happened, as you all sort of stand around, you can hear this woman's voice. What is going on? What was that? What was that? And sort of moving through the tents, and you, as she begins to come near and other people are coming out of their tents to surround this dead body with the 2 holes in his neck, bleeding from his head, Thomas says, well, I told you I really didn't like this place. And as the
I
woman...
like to step away from the body. Like, she doesn't want to be too close because she's not getting the shit pinned on her.
Yeah. So as you move away from the body, all of you giving a little bit more room, you see this woman approach, and Alec, you don't recognize her face, but she still looks familiar to you. You recognize her as a native of Efera. And as she begins to approach, angry, staff in one hand, sort of waddling, one leg on the other. She has like a rabbit hanging from her hand that it looks like she was halfway through skinning, getting ready to cook. As she approaches the dead body, sort of stares at it in disbelief, and then looks up at the 5 of you. That is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh, no.
Oh man.
So I'd like everyone to meet Mama Zila.
Oh, I love her.
Just out of curiosity, because Sayla's part of the underground and shit, would she have any idea what creature might have done that? Since that would be something that's probably more underground, I'm thinking vampire.
Yeah, you can... There's stories and fables. There's no check needed. Where 2 small holes on the neck, your first instinct definitely is there's only, like, 2 creatures that could make that. And in the middle of the night, or after the sun has gone down, I don't know, man. That would make sense to me.
Sweet.
Wow, this is a wonderful place to be.
But look, it's so pretty. There's a stable. There's a pig pen. There's
a butterfly garden?
Yeah, there's a butterfly garden. It's so nice. All right.
But I like Mama Zila.
Mama Zila.